all have taken their positions at the starting line. Okay, poised for the sound of the gun. So somehow the beginning of the event should be marked. We don't know whether he is the shortest one or the youngest one. Okay, but the poet has used the word smallest. Okay, when he falls down, he cannot keep pace with the other athletes. So he will fall down and he has to lose the medal. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Shalini, Professor of English, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Today we are here to discuss about one of the poetry part prescribed by University of Mysore for first sem BCom. So let us understand what is there in this session. So we are going to discuss about the poet and we are going to see the text along with the summary. Then we'll also understand the theme of the poem. Okay. So let us begin our session today. So let me just talk about the poet, that is David Lee Roth. Okay, so this poem is written by David Lee Roth. He was actually an American poet. Okay, he was an American poet and he was very much passionate about music. He loved music and he owns a rock band in America. Has written many poems. He's writing songs. He's a vocalist also. He is very good at playing musical instruments also. Okay. So he's a wonderful guitarist and also a harmonica player. So we just spoke about David Lee Roth, who is the poet of this poem, The 9 Gold Medals. Okay. So let's begin with the text. Okay. So there are altogether 8 stanzas over here. Okay, so this poem is actually written in free verse. It does not have rhyme scheme. Okay, so altogether, let me just tell you, no rhyme scheme. Okay, so there is no rhyme scheme. That I mean to say, there are no rhyming words as such. Okay, so no rhyme scheme. It is written in free verse. Okay, so when there is no rhyme scheme, you call it as free verse. It is just a narration written in form of a poem. Okay, so let us begin with the first stanza. So the athletes had come from all over the country to run for the gold, for the silver and bronze. Many weeks and months of training all coming down to these games. So here the poet tries to tell us how much of training they had put into for this, to compete in this event. Okay, so the athletes had come from all over the country. So there were altogether many athletes who had come from various countries. Okay, so they were here from various countries and they had put in lot of effort. Okay, so they had put in lot of efforts, weeks and months together. They had got the training. Okay, so they wanted to exhibit that in these games. Okay, so he's talking about this event. They were running for gold, silver and bronze. They were participating in this event for gold, silver and bronze medals. Okay, so that is what they were competing to. So let us move on to the second stanza. The spectators, this one is, the poet is talking about the audience. Okay, the spectators gathered around the old field. So they have already entered the ground wherein the event has to take place, to cheer on all the young women and men. So altogether there were many events that were taking place from morning. Now there were many athletes, there were many, the participants who were there. They were men and women. The final event of the day. So from morning some events were taking place. This was the final event. Okay, so there was some event that had to happen and that was the final event. That was the last event of all the events that were taking place. Was approaching. It was about to begin. Excitement grew high to begin. It was about to begin. So that time the audience actually, they were all actually very excited to watch the last event of the day. So moving on to the third stanza. The blocks were all lined up for those who would use them. So here the blocks means the starting line. So there will be some blocks that will be just kept for them to start the race. So they are talking about some blocks, that is the starting line. Okay, 100-yard dash. So this was a 100-yard or 100-meter running race. Okay, so this was about the running race that the poet is talking about. So 100-yard dash, the race to be run. So it is a running race in which the athletes were going to participate. There were 9 resolved athletes. The word resolved, they were trained very well. Okay, so there were 9 athletes. Okay, altogether 9 athletes in the back of the starting line. So they all have taken their positions at the starting line. Okay, poised for the sound of the gun. So somehow the beginning of the event should be marked. That is like it has to be told that the race is going to begin. Okay, so this poised means to wait calmly. They were all prepared for the sound of the gun. Okay, so poised actually means they were waiting calmly, you can say. Okay, they were all prepared, waiting calmly, or prepared, anything for that matter. Okay, mentally they were prepared. Okay, and they were waiting for the gunshot to be heard. Then the signal was given, the pistol exploded, so that trigger was pulled. Okay, the gun trigger was pulled and the gun was shot, and so did the runners, all charging ahead. So the race began and the runners also, they started running. Charging means to run. Okay, so they also started running. But the smallest among them means among the athletes. Okay, the smallest. We don't know whether he is the shortest one or the youngest one. Okay, but the poet has used the word smallest. Okay, so he might be shortest, he might be the youngest of all the athletes, but we'll also use the same word, the smallest. Okay, the smallest among them, he stumbled and staggered. Stumbled is to trip and fall down. Okay, so you just trip and fall down, right? You're walking and you come across a stone or something which you don't notice, then you trip and fall down. Okay, so he trips and he falls down, stumbled and staggered. Somehow he fell down and fell into the asphalt instead. Asphalt to the ground, or maybe that track what the poet is talking about. So he fell on that. So that means he just stumbled and he fell down to the track. Okay, so he could not run further. He gave out a cry in frustration and anguish. Okay, anguish, it is again this frustration or maybe the pain what he has in his mind. Okay, so the pain, the grief. Okay, so that is called as anguish. Okay, his dreams and his efforts all dashed in the dirt. So when he fell down, all his dreams, all his hopes were all shattered. Okay, he fell down. He will lose the race now, isn't it? When he falls down, he cannot keep pace with the other athletes. So he will fall down and he has to lose the medal. Okay, all his dreams, his efforts, he knows how much pain he has taken. He knows how much effort he has put into come to this race. But now everything is dashed in the dirt. It has just gone waste. But as sure as I'm standing here the poet tells that this what incident you are going to see now further. That is as true as he standing there. Okay, so he is talking about, but as sure as I am standing here, so you have to believe this incident like you believe me standing here and talking. So the same belief you should have about the incident also. Okay, so but as sure as I am standing here telling this story, the same goes for what next occurred. That means he's talking about some incident that happened after this falling down of the athlete. Okay, so there is something that happened which you also have to believe. You also should trust that. Okay, so what was that? The 8 other runners pulled up on their heels. So they were running, they just stopped. Pulling up on their heels. It's an idiom that means they also stopped running. What did they do? The ones who had trained for so long to compete, even they had put in effort. Okay, so the one who fell down, he also had put in equal effort compared to those who were running. Okay, they also stopped. Those who were running, the 8 athletes who were running, they also stopped. Okay, so they also had put in a lot of effort. They forgot their effort. They just left everything and they stood. They stopped running. One by one, they all turned around and went back to help him. Here, him means the person who fell down. So one by one, all the athletes, they stopped the race. They went back to help him. What did they do? And brought the young boy to his feet. Bringing somebody to his feet or her feet means to make them stand. Okay, one who has fallen down, to lift them. Bring back somebody to their feet means to lift them and keep them straight. Okay, so they brought back that young boy to his feet. That means they made him stand. What happened next? So this was really a surprise, isn't it? All of them, they didn't want to run. They stopped the race. They came back and they helped the boy to stand still. Then what happened? Then all the 9 runners. So now there were 9 runners. 8 came back. They lifted the one who had fallen down and they joined hands. All the 9 runners joined hands and continued the 100-yard dash. Okay, they continued that 100-meter run, but now it was not running. It was reduced to a walk. One person is injured. Now what they did? Everybody held hands and they were walking together. Okay, it was not running race now. It was just a walking. Okay, and a banner above that said Special Olympics could not have been more the mark. So what happened? There was a banner, Special Olympics. It was actually special because all of them who had participated were physically challenged. Okay, they were all physically challenged, or you can also say differently abled. Okay, you don't say physically challenged nowadays. Instead, you say differently abled. Okay, so you are not supposed to use this physically challenged. For those who are not able to walk or like physically handicapped, you say differently abled. Okay, they might have some other skills which we don't have, which we lack. Okay, so they are called as differently abled. So that is why it was called as Special Olympics. Okay, so this event took place in Special Olympics. Now, there was a banner in the end, that is in the finish line, there was a banner that said Special Olympics. All of them, they were standing under the banner. Okay, so all of them, they held each other's hand and they were standing below that banner, and that said it is Special Olympics, could not have been more on the mark. Okay, above this phrase Special Olympics, there is nothing else for us to talk about this incident. Okay, it is indeed very special, isn't it? That's how the race ended with 9 gold medals. Here, any one person would have won a gold medal. Okay, had it been the earlier race, had he not fallen down, this would have been a normal race. But now what happened? There are 9 gold medals here. Okay, they came to the finish line holding hands still. Everybody held hand and they walked to the finish line, and standing ovation. Okay, so the audience actually, they stood up and they appreciated the empathy shown by the other 8 runners. Okay, the standing ovation, the audience stood up and they started clapping. They started applauding for the 9 runners and 9 beaming faces. Beaming, very happy. Okay, so there is a wide smile on everybody's face. 9 beaming faces, 9 happy faces, you can say. Okay, so said more than these words ever will. Other than the Special Olympics and other than the words which are described here, the faces actually told the whole story. Okay, so there were a lot of things that the happy faces conveyed to the audience. Okay, so this is the overall incident, and this is what is told in the poet by like he refers to this as Special Olympics. Okay, so this Olympics was not special just because it was for differently abled. It was special because they showed that empathy, they exhibited that sportsmanship in that race. Okay, so the overall theme, it actually focuses not only on the race. It does not just focus on the race, it focuses on human values like compassion and cooperation that is very much required. That is the need of the hour. Okay, sporting events or competitions, they are not just about winning medals. Okay, so that is what is another theme that is included here. So, we just go to competition not just to win race. Like nowadays everybody says whoever loses, no, so they don't want to lose that spirit of participation. So they say winning is not important, participation is important. But actually speaking, in such cases, compassion what they show, that is more important and that is appreciable. So this poem is actually based on a partially true story. This happened during the Olympics, in one of the Olympics only in 1970s probably. So that time one of the participants had fallen down this way, but not everybody came back, but 2 or 3 they actually came back, lifted him and they continued the race. Though they lost the medal, the compassion what they showed became an inspiration for this poem. Okay. So this story is special. This Olympics, this event was called as Special Olympics not because it was for differently abled, but because of the the compassion what the fellow runners showed towards the person who was about to fail. In our life also, if we compare this to our life, that is what the poet tries to give a message to us. In our life also, everybody is running their own race. Okay, in our life also, if we help others instead of running our own race, if we help others, if we lift others up and not letting them fall, is what is the great achievement we are going to do. Okay, so that is how you compare this poem to your life. That is how you adapt these values in your life. Okay, so this was all about the 9 gold medals poem. Okay, so let us discuss about some literary devices and all in the class. So let us meet again with another more interesting session with another poem that is prescribed in your syllabus. So till then, keep learning. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.